let's talk about respond versus react. In the world of sales, which means pretty much in life, it's important to know the distinction between responding to something and reacting to something. There are many examples that I can give you to make this distinction, and I will. But first, I want you to think of a reaction as being something impulsive, something emotional, something that is often connected to lack of full control, while response is something rational, something that brings logical arguments. In other words, something that we usually think about before we deliver. Not only this, but the choice to respond rather than the choice to react, it's proven to be good for the morale and for the determination of an individual. So let me give you the first example. Let's say that you are not feeling well one day and you decide to go to the doctor. The doctor puts the diagnosis of, let's say, a bacterial infection for which you need an antibiotic prescription. And the doctor suggests that in a few days after the antibiotics start working, he would like to see you back so he can check on you and see the progress. There are two scenarios that I want us to consider with this example. First scenario, you go to the pharmacy, you take the medicine, and a few days later you go back to the doctor because now you have a rash and a stomach ache, and you also have a few different extra symptoms than you had before. Even though you kind of feel a little better, like you're not as bad as you were before with the initial symptoms. So this time, upon examination, the doctor's saying that you actually have a reaction to the initial antibiotic that he gave you. What does this mean? It means that all in all, the results of the medicine that you were given, it's not a positive one, and it needs to be changed. Second scenario would be to go to the pharmacy, take the medicine, and a few days later to go back to the doctor for the checkup, but already you're feeling much better than before. The doctor examines you and determines that you've got the right prescription, saying, well, your body's responding well to the treatment. Finish the medication and by the end, you will be feeling great again. This implies that the medicine prescribed had positive results. So you can see that even on daily basis, in our vocabulary, using respond versus react words can reflect positive or negative outcomes. The bottom line is that in life and in the world of selling in general, we must be prepared mentally and emotionally to encounter some negative responses or some negative attitudes or even negative results from time to time. When we start a coaching business, for example, we need to be prepared for clients or potential clients to cancel on us on the last minute or sometimes even to ghost us, like disappear altogether after they made a commitment to meet or to call. It happens. How do we respond or how do we react to other people's behaviors? It's on us, not on them. We are responsible for our own reaction as well as for our own responses. The truth is that probably 99% of all people have been told something along the lines that, like something that was going to happen and it didn't happen. So we've all been promised stuff that didn't happen to us. All we have to do is to be prepared for it. I'm not saying we should be paranoid and always watch our backs, but just be prepared mentally and emotionally so we don't overreact and we have rational responses. Just as it happens for people to purchase your product or services, sometimes they do that and sometimes they change their minds a day later. All this is part of conducting business and having something to offer to somebody else. The same principle applies in human relationships as well. When you start, let's say, dating somebody, Somebody new, for example. You may think that everything is great until suddenly the other person doesn't answer their phone calls anymore or avoids seeing you. And you always have a choice to respond, even if that means moving on with your life. Or you could react, which many times it's seen as impulsive and immature, and regardless of how much in the right you may be when you react, it often does not come across as a positive thing. So let's think of another example. Nicole is an entrepreneur, and she's running her own life coaching business, focusing on mindset barriers and how can we overcome them with regards to money. It's a great business because who wouldn't like to have more money and be more prosperous, right? Throughout her coaching career, she offered numerous coaching packages and a lot of advice. So she decided to write a book. She had the book self-published and she had a good amount of interest. So much so that in her first pre-order for the book, she already sold 200 books at $20 each. When the printing company asked her how she would like those books to be shipped to her, she chose the cheapest option, which many people do. But have you heard the rule of, you get what you pay for? Well, in this case, the cheapest shipping method meant that the books came in cardboard boxes with no insurance and no weather protection. So 2 weeks later, because it lasted a while too, so 2 weeks later when the books arrived to her office, she noticed that they have been pretty damaged by humidity and the heavy rain that hit half the country last week. So you can imagine that she was very disappointed, and she already took people's money and she promised a certain delivery date for her books. But obviously that was not going to happen. In this situation, she could have easily reacted, blowing up, crying, screaming at the shipping company's rep and everybody else who was or maybe was not involved in printing and shipping those books. But instead of reacting to the problem, despite her deep disappointment, which was obvious, Nicole stopped to think and to create a rational response to the situation. She saw what happened as a lesson from which to learn, and also as an opportunity to move her book into being sold in digital format as well. Of course, she was going to reorder the print of those books and take the loss. And she was going to talk to her accountant about it and maybe, even take some tax breaks for that loss. And if you took the business fundamentals course, you know what I'm talking about. But she knew that this will take time, right, going this route. And yes, she will do it. But she was going to make sure that this time the books are going to be shipped in humidity-proof containers so, the history doesn't repeat herself. So she learned from her mistake. But her mind kept thinking, how can she solve the problem faster now, right? Because the clients are waiting for the book to be delivered tomorrow or in a couple of days. Therefore, she got her teenage daughter and her friends to get mobilized together and help her send emails and make phone calls to the 200 clients who purchased the books already, saying the following. Hello, Mrs. or Mr. Smith. We are calling on behalf of Nicole Johnson with ABC Coaching, and we want to let you know that there is going to be a delay in the delivery of the book you've ordered in print. However, we would love to offer you the downloadable digital version of the book at this moment for free. All you need to do is to verify your email address that we have on file. It's mrsmith@gmail.com, correct? So yes, this cost her some money that she paid her daughter and the friends for the time they spent on the phone and sending those emails, but she did solve the problem because the majority of her clients were actually excited about the digital format of the book, knowing that it was coming in addition to the paper prints as well. It also helped her in time to almost switch completely from paper to digital for her other products as well. And that in time saved her a good amount of money on prints and shipments. Bottom line for this example is expect challenges and be prepared for them. However, never let yourself focus on the negative. Instead, see every problem as an opportunity to make your situation better. When faced with an issue, think outside the box and focus on the answer and on the solution, because that is just the thing that may save your sales and ultimately your company and your bank account balance and your reputation and so forth. But remember that in order to be positive in time of trouble, it's important to be positive every single day by applying critical thinking skills and working on your emotional intelligence levels. Because if you don't do that, you cannot expect a miracle. If you are stressed and negative and you react to different things and different people on a daily basis, you cannot expect a miracle that when you are faced with a situation like this, you're going to respond logically and create a plan. No, you're going to probably react as well. So set yourself up for success. It's all about your mindset. It's all about working on yourself.